Yo, what's going on, everybody? Lifu here. Welcome back to another episode of the No Style Podcast. This is episode 5, how I developed my confidence. Now, I've been meeting up with a bunch of friends lately, and a conversation that keeps on coming up is how I developed my confidence. And I've been telling the story numerous times, and I thought, I can't break bread with everybody, but, I still think this is knowledge. This is some gems that I want to drop. So here we are. This is the first video podcast. This is also going to be on YouTube. It's also going to be available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify because I got my new phone, so looking beautiful today. Yo, before we get started with today's video, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that anything I say is not intended to be any fitness, legal, or financial advice. Everything I said is intended to be entertainment. Thank you. So, let's get it. The first thing I want to take you guys all the way back to is high school. So, towards the end of my senior year in high school, I read a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And basically what it means is that, your thoughts can a lot of times impact, the way you perform, right? So, a quick example, right? So, I go to the gym a lot, back then at least. So I would do pull-ups. So say I wanted to do a set of 10, right? 10 reps, 10 pull-ups. So in my mind, I have to be like, all right, I want to do 10 pull-ups, right? And if I think in my mind I could do 10 pull-ups, I'm able to do it. But if in my mind I'm like, yeah, I'll just do it until I'm tired, then your mind is not set. So you're like, okay, once you hit 5 or 6 and you feel tired, then you stop, So I was like, all right, I'm going to believe in myself, right? I'm going to believe in myself that I can do this. I can accomplish this. And it was really a mindset change, like in high school, I was kind of looking for external validation, like hard facts that I was going to succeed in this. But I was like, let me try believing in myself and doing that. So that was high school. Let me see now. Okay. I wrote this down on my other phone, my old iPhone 7. Guys, I upgraded from the iPhone 7. I've had it since 2017, September, and I just got the iPhone 13 now in September of 2022. 5 years. It's helped me down a lot. If you know, you know. But also what helped my confidence was kind of a little bullish. Some might say artificial, but it was working out, right? Like I was feeling good. I had gains, I was working out. I was playing basketball. I was feeling strong. I was feeling healthy. And a lot of times, like if you met me freshman year of college, if you went to City College where I went, you might be like, wow, this guy's so confident. And it was, my mind, with the help of that book, I was like, yo, I work out. I'm one of the most brawler guys in the room, right? That's what I think, right? It might not be true, but that's what I think. Why should I be scared of anybody, right? Like, why should I be scared of anybody? So that helped my confidence a little bit too. But yeah, going to college, meeting people from all walks of life, and just interacting with them, it helped. It really helped. Next thing I would say is really talking to different girls, right? Like I was in college. I was trying to meet girls, trying to date in college. And when you try to date in college, so I studied computer science, and the ratio of men to women in the major is insane. Sometimes it's 90% guys, right? So I wasn't meeting women in my classes particularly, at least not a lot. So I had to do something else, right? So I would be in the library studying, or I would be at the gym, or I would be in the cafeteria. And I would just try to talk to different women that I found attractive, right? And obviously, you're shooting your shot, right? Like, you're not going to make every shot you take, right? Kobe missed the most shots in NBA history, and he's still considered all-time great, right? That's my man right there. But, yeah, so, the first time I did it, talked to a girl, wasn't in my class, just approached her. Man, I remember after that, like, I was in the cafe, Marshall Cafe, And there was this girl sitting there. My friend was telling me, oh, you could just tell her that you think she's real pretty and ask for her Instagram. I did it. She gave me her Instagram. But man, I had a physics class right afterwards, and I was shaking for 50 minutes. Could not focus in class. But that was the first time I did it. And after that, I was like, oh wow, look, like, you know, if she says no, or you hit her up and she doesn't reply, like, kind of stings at first, but you realize, like, it's out of your control at that point, right? Like it's up to you if the girl or guy, in my case, if the girl likes me back or not, right? It's out of my control. So when you go through, like, rejection, or in our, like, kind of failure, you know, you be like, oh, this is not so bad. Like, why should I be worried about this? Like, instead of thinking what can go wrong, right? Like, obviously, before you do something, right, you're like, all right, what is the worst case scenario, right? What's the worst thing that can happen from this? And if you can live with that worst case and it's not so bad, then do it, right? That's why I always goes through my mind. So I'm like, all right, I don't think about what can go wrong, right? I always think about what can go wrong. I'm like, all right, what if it goes right, right? Okay? So definitely just speaking to different women, you know, shooting my shot, you know, some success, some rejections, but, you know, develop my confidence there, you know, like, be able to take an L and, you know, leave the area wherever she is, and, you know, keep my head up. So yeah. Next was doing YouTube, and also I want to put it out there that this is how I develop my confidence. I think everybody can develop confidence in different ways. So yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys can learn from my journey, and, you know, I hope it helps. So next thing I was doing was YouTube. So I had a YouTube channel in college. I was doing lifestyle content. I was doing, like, vlogs, basketball 1-on-1, self-improvement content. And I was really putting myself out there, and it taught me how to speak in front of a camera, which in turn helped me speak in real life. I thrived on class presentations. And when you speak in front of a camera, you learn how to speak in ways where, like, you don't want to catch yourself, you know, saying something that you will regret later, right? So, but in a real life conversation, you can't be thinking every, you know, word you speak. You can't, there's no retake. So that's what helped me speaking from the camera, putting myself out there. I remember my guy Mo, he told me, like, okay, man, you have 60 subscribers on YouTube. If you want to hit 100, why don't you just ask 40 people to subscribe to your YouTube channel, like, in person, right? I did that, you know, like, it was uncomfortable at first, but it definitely, you know, gave me confidence, man. And it was hard at first, but, you know, developed it more. Okay, so I was doing YouTube, and then fast forward to so this is, like, the bulk of the video, right? Like, before, my confidence was probably like a 6, right? Now we're moving up, right? So there was a global pandemic in the spring of 2020, and so I studied computer science, and I graduated in the spring of 2021. And over the course of my last semester, I was in danger of failing 3 classes out of my 5. And I was really going through it. You know, had some disagreements with some of my professors. But, you know, my logic is, so give you some background. At the City College of New York, if you want to complete computer science degree in 4 years, like I did, you will have to take 5 classes every semester for 8 semesters, right? To graduate on time, right? So you want to pass all of them. And the reason I passed all my classes is because I never dropped a class, right? Sometimes, like, if you feel like you might get a bad grade and you don't want to hurt your grade point average GPA, you might drop the class. But I was like, I don't want to retake the class. I want to graduate on time. So I just never dropped any classes. Like, if I was to fail, the teacher would have to fail me. So I was really going through it. My last semester, I almost dropped out, man. I was struggling. I was struggling really mentally, but, you know, never dropped the class. Just kept pushing. Managed to get a 2 Ds in one of the two of the classes, passed. These get degrees. Don't, guys, get the best grades you can, all right? Really messed up my GPA, those few Ds. And then the other class, I think I managed to get a B. But, you know, I still graduated, and just going through all that made me stronger. So, yeah. But also, I want to say that so that was 2021. In December of 2020, towards the end of the year, I started reselling, right? Reselling streetwear. So I'm going to tell you the story. I don't think I've told it. I think I've told it in another podcast. But basically, one day, I went to Foot Locker and to buy some basketball shoes because they were having crazy sales, getting like Kyrie's for $60. I was there, they didn't have my size, but I was walking out. There was some Rude jackets, right? So Rude is an LA streetwear luxury brand based out in California. Rudy Villaseñor, an aspiring one of the best designers out there, in my opinion. And it's really popular in the West Coast, but in the East Coast, it's not so much. So at least I don't see that many people wearing it. So I was in a Facebook group where a lot of people like this brand, and people in the West Coast, well, it was sold out, right? It was exclusive. So Rude X Starter, and basically, I put up some pictures on the screen of it, but basically, yeah, they had the jackets there, you know, in the Foot Locker flagship, and I bought 5 of them. I bought $1,250 worth of jackets, $250 each. That was the most I ever bought, you know. I was like, man, this is an opportunity. There was no past history of these jackets selling. I was like, all right, maybe I got to find a market. But I will tell you, I was shaking. You know, I was like, wow, like what if it doesn't sell? But Foot Locker had a 45-day refund policy. So I was thinking, if I can't sell any of them, I'll just return it and get my money back. The only thing that would cost me is a very, very awkward refund when I go to the store, but it is what it is, right? And then the next day, went to Times Square. So the day before, I went to Herald Square Foot Locker in Manhattan. And the next day, I went to Times Square 42nd Street Foot Locker. And I bought 7 jackets. So 2 days, I spent $3,000. I was shaking, man. I was taking those jackets on the train home. Those 2 bags, man. I was like, oh, man. Got a lot of jackets on me, man. So, but I started selling on Grailed. So it's basically like a menswear site. It's like eBay, but mainly for menswear designer brands, streetwear type things. And, you know, when I was at Foot Locker, I bought a small, I bought a medium, I bought a large, I bought an extra large. All these different jackets, sometimes in the same color. It's obviously is not all for myself, right? Like, I know I'm reselling it. The people working at the store know I'm reselling it, right? What is said is understood, but generally, people are not fond of resellers. And, you know, ideally, you want people to come in the store and buy it, right? But if there is a demand and there's supply, and you can capture your opportunity, in my opinion, why not, right? I always did want to try my hand at reselling. So did that for the Babe X Levi as well. So in the fall of 2020, I started by getting interested in a brand called Aimé Leon Dore, based out of Queens, New York. I think 90s hip hop in New York meets prep. Great brand. And I bought a few pieces, and then one day I just started reselling it, right? So I did a podcast episode about me reselling it, and I'm not gonna get too into it too deep, but I remember the first time I went to the store, and I thought at the time that inventory, like the hardest thing about reselling was inventory, right? Getting stuff that people want, right? I was new to the game, and went there with my friend. I bought 3 hats, right? These are in-store exclusive hats, right? You can only get it in the store. There's only one store in New York at the time in the whole world, right? So if you're from LA and you want the hat, you gotta either buy from me, a friend buy it for you, or some random guy online proxy it for you, and you pay them more. But people bought from me. So I bought 3 of each color, 1 of each color, 3 colors total. A green, a navy, and a white. And it says Mulberry, and it's also had the t-shirts. I'll put it up on the screen. And my friend also bought me the same thing, right? Because it's one per person, right? But I had my friend with me, and in total I spent about $840, which is a lot of money. And the thing about this store is you can only refund for store credit within 10 days. So sometimes 10 days is not enough to see if something sells. So it was a risk, but I always watched a YouTuber named Dylan Flex before I started reselling. He was like, scared money don't make money. So you gotta take a risk sometimes, at least for me, right? And yeah, so I did that and I started reselling it, and I would go into the store like almost every week, right? And I would get those hats and I'll be like, hey, can I get 3 of these? And it was kind of awkward because, you know, the store people knew I was reselling. I knew I was reselling. And the people in the community weren't really fond of resellers, right? Like, who really is, right? So, like, I'll be in the store and, you know, like, it's a lot, right? Like, if I buy out all the hats and then the regular customers can't get it, you know, and then they have to pay me, right? Like, I'm the middleman. So I'm sure they're not a fan. But, you know, I still went to that store every week, wait online, buy my stuff, I'll go home, take pictures, list it online, ship it out. Really taught me to be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. I remember they'll put these hats in this plastic bag, right? And you just put it in a bag and then you go. But since I'm reselling this hat at a premium, right? Like a $55 hat, I might sell it for $100 on Grailed. And after fees, I might make $20, $22. So I will have to inspect every hat for defects, right? Because if I have a defective hat and I sell it to someone on Grailed, it is my fault that the hat has a defect, right? It is my fault. So I would do that, and obviously it's not comfortable, right? Like, you're inspecting 6 hats, you know, like, oh, this has a little bit, this small of a little stitching was off. I was like, hey, can you get me a different one? You know what I mean? Like, I did that, you know? So I was doing that, and then eventually as I got more comfortable with the brand, learned more about the brand, I stopped going to the store to buy it because they didn't have stuff. I started buying it online because I had early access. So I was buying more of this product. And this was not, so what I used to do is, if something was sold out online and they had it in store, then I would buy that and I would sell it on Grail, right? Obviously, right? It's like a slam dunk sometimes. But now it's different, right? Because the store got more popular, the brand got more popular, and now I'm buying stuff online. So I needed to develop my eye, right? How do I know stuff that's gonna sell out? Because if it doesn't sell out, then I can't resell it. And it's also something that people are willing to pay resale for, right? So say like a 30 item drop, 40 item drop, there might only be 2 or 3 items, right, that can comfortably resell, right? There's a lot of inventory. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but you know, just doing that, sometimes you buy something and nobody wants it, right? Right? You bought something, a t-shirt for $85, and people are like $50, you know? And you're like, damn, you know, that sucks, but it makes you stronger, right? And then, yeah, I mean, being awkward sometimes, and really what this reselling taught me is just not being afraid to fail. And even when I did fail, like, I bought stuff that didn't resell, I learned from it. Like, why didn't this resell? Like, back when I was buying fitted hats, you know, there's so many different sizes: 718, 704, 738, 7.5, 758, right? All these SKUs, and it's hard to sell it because if a hat is 7.5 and someone has a 7.25, they can't buy it even if they want it, right? It's not gonna fit them. So you learn, you know, I started selling one size things, right? Like stuff with adjustable snapback, and you learn. You iterate, and then eventually I was making more sales on Grailed, and I was using that money to like go out to eat, right? Buy some clothes for myself, right? And obviously buy more product to sell. And just doing this, being very persistent, really like just putting in a lot of effort on my listings. I mean, if you want to see it myself, I pay a lot of attention to my listings, and really what I used reselling for was an educational experience, right? Like, at the end of the day, I don't think I'm gonna make enough money in this niche to make a living, right? But I could learn how to sell, how to price, how to take pictures, how to talk to customers, how to write a description, right? How to ship stuff out, which is very important. Different UPS, USPS, FedEx, you know, shipping domestically, internationally, right? What packaging to use, what sizing, you know, how to tape the box, how to print the label. You know, I learned all that stuff. And it was valuable, but I always believed in myself. I never stopped believing in myself. And I will say is, I think to wrap it up, my confidence comes from not caring what other people think. You know, like, obviously, I respect your opinion, right? If you have something to say, any advice, any feedback, I'm all ears. I'm going to listen to what you have to say. I'm going to consider it. I'm going to think about it. By the end of the day, I'm going to make my own decisions. And I don't really care about what other people have to say about my decisions. Or, like, if they're, like, they think I'm a bum or whatever. Like at the end of the day, I do me, right? And if people like it, that's awesome. If not, then it is what it is. So, to wrap it up, combination of not being afraid to fail, right? Learning from failures, believing in myself, and not really caring what other people think. And also, like, what's the worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario, right? Right? Like, I sell all my clothes, right? And, you know, I cut back on my lifestyle. I cook at home, do all that, right? Maybe I work at Starbucks, right? Making coffee, right? And I can live with that, right? And that allows me to take risks because I'm not, if I fail, worst case scenario, I do this. And if I'm okay with that, then I have nothing to lose. So guys, that was pretty long of a podcast, but I hope you enjoyed that very much. If you did, make sure to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and rate me on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, give that a like, hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you guys next time. I don't know when the next time is because, you know, like, doing this solo podcast is only when I have something really to say. But just know, whenever I drop an episode, it's going to be gems, all right? Yo, it's Lifu, your boy. Holla at me. Peace.